Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. You also know on this channel and on my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take more time. Well, not more time, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes, to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. There's many different realities that play out at one time. You wouldn't choose to live a reality that keeps you stuck in resentment, right? No one would because it doesn't feel good. However, we will stay stuck in a place of resentment if the cycle continues, right? If a situation continues to, trigger us until we actually heal it, it's not going to all of a sudden not trigger us, right? If anything, the trigger gets worse and it gets worse. And then it's what we do because of the trigger that is karma. It's not really what happens, it's how you deal with what happens. So if you understand why everything's happening the way that it is from a spiritual perspective, you're able to not emotionally get triggered. You're able to intuitively tap into that higher self, get divine wisdom because we all have it. It's just a lot of times we can't access that when we're overly emotional, right? But if you have discernment of what to look for, not because you're looking for it, but just because you've been educated about what to look for, and then you're seeing it, then it becomes a head over heart decision a lot of times. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you don't have feelings for that person. A lot of times the feelings that we have for a person is just because we've invested time. And that time we were seeing that person as what we wanted to see them as, not really for who they are. A lot of times within karmic connections, doesn't mean that they can't be that person. What it means is that they're not the person that we saw. We wouldn't see and be attracted to and stay connected to someone that was abusive unless there was something really flawed with us where we needed to seek help, right? No one wants to stay in a connection with someone that makes them feel bad, right? A lot of times we can see that they're bad, but for whatever reason, we may think that they're not going to be that way with us, right? We can see something, but we can trick ourselves. So there's many different reasons why we get into karmic connections and all the time we have the answers inside of ourselves. I mean, you might not see all the time the red flags, but we definitely see some of the red flags. But what happens is we can, like I said, see what we want to see, talk ourselves into, staying with a person because of what we want, not necessarily what's right in front of us, is what I'm trying to get at. And a lot of times that's what happens in karmic connections because it's how we've conditioned that person. It's what we taught them. And so, again, the awareness of what we taught them unconsciously, which is always how what we'll accept. We need to change, obviously, to get a different outcome. Now, I never know why I say what I say in the beginning of a reading. I just tend to ramble a little bit to see what's going to come out. And a lot of times you'll see it play out within the cards, whatever I talked about, you know. So it's almost like a little intuitive hit. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It's in the description box. Give the video a like, comment, be interactive. I love it when you guys are. Don't forget to check out the links in the description box. The holidays are right around the corner. Otter Spirit Bracelets. I have what you see here is the abundance and prosperity and everything money wise is what I have on. I actually also have two jade ones. You can't see, these are really beautiful jade bracelets, but due to the green screen, you're not really seeing it all the time. But I'm not wearing them, but they're beautiful. Um, I should wear them even though you're not really going to see the benefit because of the green screen, but they are gorgeous jade. And this is the like I said, the prosperity, the abundance, the money, the good fortune pack. And you'll see jade, you see pyrite, which is fool's gold. It looks like gold. You're going to see citrine that works with the solar plexus, right? So if we're not strong within ourselves, we don't listen to our intuition. Only in the now do we get divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing. Again, that pyrite is what gives us protection because it connects us to the higher self. See tiger's eye here, which is another protective stone. Again, and that gives us strength, which are things that we need. Why? Because not everyone wants you to succeed, unfortunately. And also, when we're trying to manifest, we can really get frustrated because things don't happen as fast as we want. So, the grounding stones like pyrite and tiger's eye helps you be in the now, helps you be grounded, helps you connect to that God part of self. And then you see the jade, which we know jade always represents good fortune. We know that just from Chinese medicine and in the other in a lot of other cultures, jade is a very prosperity stone, known as a prosperity stone, known to give you good fortune, known to give you. I also have a jade necklace, but like I said, you usually you see a lot of Chinese people, Asian people wearing it because again they incorporate the different stones and the different meanings of everything into their everyday life. So again, give the gift of healing. You guys get 15% off and 15% of proceeds go to saving the otters. So it's a big deal. It's like it's a win-win-win. They're beautiful, they're nice, and they even have minis, which I like to wear the minis sometimes. Um, but sometimes I also like to wear like the big ones. The mini ones are good if you're going to work out and you're going to do things, you know, they won't get in the way. All right, let's see what the underlining energy is. Don't forget to like the video. All right, let's see. The underlining word of the video is release fear and ancestral karma. So that's the underlining energy. Well, I'm already feeling stuff, but let's pull another one. I have a mosquito bite under one of these bracelets. It's itching me. Okay, regret. So funny, 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 funny. I feel like you are, see the bug bite? Oh, I always want to itch it. Oh, anyway, so when we're seeing fear and ancestral karma, what it means is both parties have inherited karmic blocks, spiritual blockages from family, ancestral karma. And there are similar blocks. And those blocks have to do with connection to the earth, the physical currencies of the physical world, as well as relationships. Because when there's a root chakra imbalance, that's the root chakra represents our connection to our physical body, the physical world, all the major currencies of the physical world and the major systems of the physical body, such as the endocrine system, the skeleton system, all the nervous system, all the major systems of the body. So again, you have a block within the root chakra, and so does this person. In simpler terms, this person is realizing because they're in a place of regret. You know that they're going to be in a place of regret because of their behaviorisms. People that have blocks in their root chakra, you're going to see a lot of negative behaviorisms just so that you see. And it's because we're taught how to deal with stress. We're taught how to look at ourselves and how to view the world from our family. It's those first years that we're on the planet that we're really, being conditioned. You're being programmed, and you're being programmed by your parents, by your environment, what's going on collectively, right? How well did your grandparents get along with your parents? Like, how did they talk to them? How did they deal with them? And what we see here is negatively that there was a lot of fear. So when you see fear, you're going to see anxiety, and you're going to see the habits and the behaviorisms that come from having anxiety. And so this person, when they were dealing with you, they were very selfish, very common for someone that has a root chakra imbalance, because they're just thinking about themselves. That root chakra is all about not just our physical body, but it represents our survival, how stable we are, how safe we feel. Again, that's being programmed by your parents and your environment at a very young age. It's always happening to you. You're always being conditioned. And the thing is, if you haven't healed those spiritual blockages that are held within the root chakra, what you're going to continually see is the same karmic themes loop within your life. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so, again, like if you always have financial problems, and it's not just financial problems, it would be every job I get, there's a bully there, and it affects my stability. Because again, I feel like I don't have control. Like people just bully me. They have it out to get me. They don't like me. Again, to see these lower themes, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is the karma comes from the reaction to what's happening, right? So again, if we're being bullied by someone, it's not to cower down and not say anything, and it's not to flip the person off. It's to sometimes be as wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove, to say things, but wait for the divine guidance. Only in the now will you get it. So you have to be grounded, and you have to show that you're strong within yourself. Some people, again, they hear criticism or they're around a bully, and they automatically try to accommodate that bully. They give that bully too much energy, so that bully knows I can do that more to whatever I'm doing, because it's affecting that person that I might want to get rid of. And I want to get rid of because I want their job, or I want to be a brown nose, meaning I want to kiss the boss's ass so that maybe I can get a raise, or just getting good with them. For whatever reason, these are dynamics that play out within the people that have a root chakra imbalance. That's what it plays out as. That you have no control over your life. You don't feel safe. You don't feel grounded. You don't feel safe. There's a lack of identity. There's a lack of connection to ancestors. And we're always going to see betrayal there. We're always going to see shame there. We're always going to see guilt there. Again, the energies that are derived from fear. There's only two energies, love and fear. And what do we see here? We see fear. And so what happened is, it's like this person's disassociated from whatever has transpired in the past, or they couldn't show up for you. Because understand, disassociation happens from detachment, detachment happens from trauma. And so what happens is that in order to deal with it, the pain, we detach, and then we don't remember on an emotional level. And the disassociation is that I don't remember. I don't have a feeling one way or the other about it, is detachment. But disassociation is because it's fragmented. It got pushed so far into the subconscious mind that it's become a karmic loop, that it's like, because neither party has learned within the area. Now, like I said, the root chakra represents how well we feel really about ourselves, how stable we feel about ourselves. And stability comes a lot of times from the environment, from your family, from your connection to God, to your connection to yourself, and if there's none of that there, well, then money's going to be very difficult to have. And guess what? Relationships are going to be next to impossible to have. So there's again a real feeling of inadequacy. Like there must be something wrong with me because I'm just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And that's what happens after a while. We see what we look for. And so again goes back to fear. So when you're dealing with this person, like I said, they were selfish and they just created, a lot of illusions so that you really never knew who you were dealing with. I feel like they showed you one thing, but who they are is somebody else, which is very common with people that have root chakra imbalances. Again, they feel inadequate. They feel like there's something wrong with them. Again, because of the experiences that they have lived. But again, there's many different realities that play out at one time. So it's what they do that creates that. Now, it also shows that you have a block within the root chakra. Now, you might have a block within your finances where this person has more of a block within their relationships. But it'll bleed into that person's second chakra work very close together. So obviously if you have a problem with people, then you're always going to feel like you can't move forward financially. Someone's always blocking you from that, and where you're like, I don't know, people just get triggered by me. And people that have problems with relationships, they feel inadequate. So they don't really haven't learned how to communicate. They haven't learned. So you see all the other chakras are going to be imbalanced. Life is going to be hard. So it doesn't mean that you don't have patches of happy time, but life is hard. So this is the underlining energy. I want to see where this person is at now. I want to see where they're at now. I want to see what they're going to do. And then I want to see what the blocks are, the actual blocks are. And can you actually integrate those blocks? So let's see. We already see um, a little bit of what the person did. Where they are now, I'm afraid of losing you. I feel like I can be my true self around you. And the irony is that that person did not feel like they could be their true self around you until they lost you. They're afraid of losing you forever because what they see is that they finally pushed you over the edge, and that's the thing. It's um and understand is because the separation, there's still a lot of chemistry, and the separation will always make a person long for that. So it says the chemistry is off the charts. You are the first person on my mind when I wake up in the morning. So there's nothing about passion. There's nothing about like wanting to be here. Will you give me a second chance? Because I have unwittingly sabotaged our connection. Will you take it like it's water underneath the bridge? Now you may say, why all of a sudden? Well, you inspired this person. That's the thing. They want to fix things. They wish they could fix things. That's where they are. You inspire them. They want a second chance. And I feel like it's like not until you walked away and did this person say, I really shouldn't have. Well, we're not going to use that deck now. Like, not until you like walked away did this person actually see what they did. So we have to actually look and see what they did because it doesn't really make sense. That card doesn't belong in there. Okay. Let's see. What happened is that this person doesn't like to have like conversations. They don't like to be transparent. And there's almost like just they have too many issues to deal with. So they brought this, all their problems and their perceptions of who they are into this connection, and they weren't starting off at a good place. So again, meaning they have too many things that they need to heal before they ever got into a relationship. They should have never even been in a relationship with you. But we have to say they were in that because of the chemistry, again, the connection. But the entire time it was turbulent because the thing is they never healed their past. Then they come into this connection and they navigate this connection the same way that they did everyone else, and nothing gets healed. It's like it doesn't mean that there's no passion, doesn't mean that this person doesn't have feelings. What it means is that the relationship goes on, off, on, off. You make up to break up, you make up to break up, and that's all that the relationship really is. Because again, there's just too many unresolved like issues that turn into conflicts because it keeps happening. And not until this person actually looks and sees and takes responsibility for how they contribute to what's happening in their life, it's not gonna ever be fixed. And that's the problem. So it's nothing about love. It's again, this person creates the illusion that who they want you to perceive they are, and obviously also like the depth of the connection, because they can't really go deep in the connection if everything is superficial and everything is covered up. Then all they're really doing is they're posing. And then when you're asking questions and want to go deeper, what you're seeing and what you saw is that they have too many barriers up. And so again, this person then closes down to protect themselves. So the relationship never grows. And what you feel like is, I'm in a relationship with someone that acts like a baby. That's someone that doesn't want the relationship serious. Thing is like they have a lot of passion for you, but the depth of the connection is not deep. So you're taking it like that, but that's not because they don't want a serious relationship. It's because they don't want to do the healing. And the thing is, well, you don't want to do that because then it winds up being more of a entanglement where you become connected and you're emotionally investing in someone that this person like can't and doesn't invest in you, which then what you know is that this person then will emotionally manipulate because hey, they have strong feelings for you, but they refuse to get transparent. And so you would be the person that if they act childish and you're like playing like where they're playing around and you're like trying to play around too, but you're trying to get answers with from them, they close down more. There's too many barriers. It's like, so it becomes more of an entanglement because you're not allowed to have any boundaries. And so then the person's a lot able to, emotionally manipulate you. They're able to manipulate a lot, listen to me. That doesn't even make sense. They're able to then manipulate you because they don't have a deep emotional connection. They've logicked it. Everything was hidden behind an illusion, a facade. If they're in that mode, they're not able to go get deep with inside of you. They're going to keep it on the surface. And as long as they don't have those deep talks and don't acknowledge what's actually making them want to create an illusion instead of actually really just create your life. Why would you want to create an illusion? Well, again, this person feels like they're inadequate. They feel like there's something wrong with them. So it's almost just easier for them to be wild at heart. So what it is again, that makeup to break up, that makeup to break up. It's like that's what this card is, the storms of love, but where you then see it as this person just wants to be free. They don't really want to be in a relationship. They actually do want to be in a relationship. They don't know how to be in a relationship. The only way they know how to be in a relationship is this way because they don't do the healing, and this connection requires them to do healing. They want to keep it on the surface, they want to hide behind illusions. That doesn't allow them to go deep. So, this is why you're like, I'm like, I don't know who I'm dating. Well, it's this person's fear. The spiritual block is you're not going to like me. You're not going to like me. If I show you who I really am, it's better that I protect myself and I create the illusion of who I want you to perceive that I am. That's what the issue is. It's again comes back to this person's fear. That's the ancestral karma. The ancestral karma is fear, and we only have that fear when we feel inadequate about ourselves. We feel we don't have enough. I'm not good enough. It's all lack. Like that, that's the perception. So again, this person does it to create a self-image, but it's due to the trauma that they're trying to hide. And the thing is that now this person is like they want to come back. Because now they're like, I really could have been with you. I really could have. So maybe this person is observing you and watching you. But we're seeing right now, like, what are they doing? Well, they're always going to try and manipulate. That's who they are. They're someone that strategizes. They're logical. They're protecting their heart still. So when that looks like an evil card, but I feel like it's because, again, this person comes from a place of lack, that I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. They're basing themselves on what they have and possibly like their previous relationships and everything that has gotten them to this place of lack. So this is where they are, which is why they're manipulating. Again, I'm not enough. The truth of the matter is that they're in their old habits, and they're already assuming, well, you're going to pass judgment on me, which again, this person doesn't want to go that deep. They're not that transparent. You know, um, they already feel inadequate. Their self-image, they're always so any little thing that you say, well, again, it's going to be amplified. They're hearing it through the wound. They're not really hearing what you're saying, and that this person wouldn't be able to take constructive criticism because of that, and here it is, they're looking at you. So what they decided to do was, well, it felt like more like a competition, right? Because it kept you at an arm's length. They're creating the illusions of who they are. They're lying to you. And it's mainly just so that you can't connect with them. They would rather you perceive them as being a player, someone that's going to be wild at heart, than really someone that wants to be in a monogamous relationship, even though this person would want to be in a monogamous relationship. They don't know how to be in a monogamous relationship without feeling disempowered. See, they want to be the authoritarian, but they're too afraid, which is because they're too afraid to be vulnerable. And again, they don't want the rejection. Like if you have too much power, well, then you might reject them. And it all goes back to, again, the inherited family karma from their parents, what they grew up in, what they saw. So this is what is the spiritual blockage that is preventing this person from actually being able to be in a relationship with you. It's how they feel about themselves. And again, it's just safer to live in the illusions, and because then they don't really have to look and see what they need to do to heal. And then they never really get that close, so you can never really reject them. It's all because, again, this person's intimidated by you. They're intimidated because you hold a lot of power. You have there's a lot of chemistry there. if there's a lot of chemistry, this person definitely wants to get to know who you are. It's not like they hold themselves back. They hold themselves back because, well, then the less emotion that I give you, the less of a connection that I have. Then this person, it looks like they're more grounded and they're not as affected by you when really they are really affected by you. They just have mastered not showing you that. And so what we see here is again that they think that the situation is being caused by the both of you. And maybe it is from a spiritual perspective. It's so again, this is what they feel. They don't feel like it's just them. Um, and they're going through a dark night of the soul. Nothing in their life is making sense. They can still feel your energy. They wonder whether or not you're thinking about them, whether you're still happy to, be with them, like whether you're happy with them, whether you were really happy ever. Like they're wondering, they're trying to figure out this connection. They've never experienced anything like it before. They don't emotionally get deep. So a person that doesn't emotionally get deep, it's easy for them to move on. And the fact that this person like can't move on, I feel like it's very confusing for them. Now that happens if a person has detached and they've learned how to navigate their life through being detached and disassociated, then and just having those superficial relationships and not really going deep, well, it's very casual. This person like never really desired to have a deep relationship because the deep relationship again requires them to become vulnerable. And it's just understand that their inner child like is wounded because their parents were never really there, didn't do what they like needed to do to make this person feel safe. Again, there was a bad connection. When we have a anxious attachment because our parent is avoidant, well, guess what? That this person didn't become more anxious. What they became was the avoidant because they were like, this is what it is. My needs were never like taken care of. And because my needs weren't taken care of, like this is how I react. And I react by acting like I don't care. Like it's safer, which again, they know that they hurt you and they hope that you can forgive them and understand that they were acting from a place of fear, like they're seeing it, and that they've been so grounded all their life. Again, grounded, survival. So someone that's too grounded too is someone that's coming from survival. So this person could be good with business, they could be good with money, they could be good with building something. They're not good on an emotional level. They're not good with expressing themselves. They don't want to be transparent. They don't want to feel vulnerable. And that's the thing. They've been so grounded all their life that it's hard for them to trust the spiritual elements of the connection. Yet at this point, they realize that they can't deny that they exist. And that's what happened. This person, I think just treated you the way that they treated everybody else. And then what happened is it's like they realize that they still have this connection to you, and which they don't know what to do with that. It's again that makes them go deep. So what did this person do? They put on the facade and this illusion like they were didn't have emotions, didn't really care, came across as if they didn't care. And so this person says, well, they want to send you a message today, but they're like always afraid to. They don't know if you want to hear from them or not. That's where they are. And that their inner child needs healing. And at this point, I think the universe is saying both of your inner children need healing. Now, if you're attracted to this person, you have spiritual blocks. You might not have the same spiritual blocks that they have, but unfortunately, there's only two energies, love and fear. And if you're connected to somebody that has a lot of fear when it comes to their, you know, relationships and stuff, Well, you can have a block again in finances. You can have a block also, and you might feel inadequate also. So like goes to like. You might say, I feel a lot more confident these days, but if you can't kind of feel confident, it's again only two energies, love and fear. You get what you need. So someone that's this fragmented would obviously be able to trigger someone that was almost ready to heal, like to step it up into that, higher level of consciousness because they've learned. They've gone through it. Went through the situation. They saw what it was. They acted differently, right? This person is still trying to leave their comfort zone with this issue, which the issue there really is no issue except for this person has to become transparent. They have to they have to be able to, tell you how they feel. They have to show some vulnerability. They can't keep wearing a mask. If they want to be with you, they have to act as if they care about you. And that's the thing. This person knows that. Is that it's here on a spiritual level, you both incarnated here to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. We know that. It's again because that was the first card that we pulled. So this person is like, well, I can't validate our 3D in the spiritual until until they can understand. Wait, they can't validate their love in the 3D until they understand can't validate our love in the 3D until I understand our spiritual love in the 5D. I don't know why I'm having trouble talking. But what happened is that this person again is opposite of you. So here it is. You're very emotional, you're sensitive, you're like, and there's this spiritual connection. This person doesn't have connections like this. They go through people and they don't have connections like that. So they treated you the way that they treated everybody else. And then what happened is that you disconnected and this person's like, well, we still have this really strong spiritual connection and I don't really understand I don't understand God. I'm a grounded person. I'm somebody that I'm not spiritual. I'm not woo woo. That's this person. And they're like stuck in trying to figure it out. But this is a person that normally wouldn't care. The thing is, they're trying to logic it, trying to reason it. They're trying to put it in like, they're trying to put it in like words meaning that they understand. And you can't do that with love. That's why this person's kind of like stuck because they're like, wow, like in order for me to like be with you, I have to really let you into my life. And this person like would have to drop that. And Spirit just says, clear the illusions of the 3D world. Don't take everything at face value. There's a lot more going on spiritually and energetically than you can see. So what Spirit's saying is that, yes, this person and you are a match because you're both clearing spiritual blocks from your ancestral bloodline. And that has to do with fear. And so we didn't even look at how this person treated you, but I can guarantee like it wouldn't have been good, and the reason why is because, hey, they're wrapped up. They're wrapped up in like being confronted with this situation, seeing I handled it wrong. And now I realize I have feelings now that you're not here. Instead of me being over it, I actually like the feelings are more, they're intensified and they don't have control over it. So it's making them want to change. It's changing them internally. But so you better believe that they feel the sexual energy between you but it's beyond physical attraction and it needs to be elevated. So the only way that is going to be elevated is when this person goes through their dark night of the soul fully and they're in that process now. So nothing in their life is really making sense. They would normally want to even be in a relationship, go back into a relationship, especially when relationships don't work out. This person's like, I'm not gonna really even do that because I don't even believe in love. And the thing is, what they're seeing is that's not true. They're going through this dark night of the soul. They're changing, they're evolving, but they're still like just trying to figure things out, is what I see here. And it's they're scared because they have to, if they're going to come back, they have to be vulnerable and they have to be open to possibly being rejected, which is what stops them from fully calling you. They want to call you, but they're like, well, if you don't want to hear from me, then you're going to hang up the phone on me. So this is what we see, that there are things happening, even though you're not visually seeing them do anything. There's a lot of internal work. There's a lot of, them having to look at their inner child wounds of why their parents didn't show up, and how that's played out within their life, and how they treated you and how they have to come back. So there's a lot of things. Again, they're figuring things out is the best way that I can put it. That's where they are now. Do I see them ever coming back? Listen, at this point, it's like we don't know. It's like it's still in free will. Um, but it's almost like this person has faith, and they have faith because they think that this relationship has a spiritual power to it, right? We see that it's invincible, that it's perfect, that it's healing, like it's again the creative force, and that this person values you and they feel like you value them, and that there's a very, just again, a very strong spiritual power. So they believe that the relationship will come back. Do they have figure out how they're coming back? No. Do they have faith that you guys will be able to get back together again? Yes. Are they delusional? Who knows? But as of today, they're open to it, but what they realize is that they're not going to be able to come back unless they do the healing. That's not something that's done overnight. And so Spirit says, well, and you're supposed to be healing because you're fragmented also, because you wouldn't get a person like this to come into your life. You have free will to choose whether you want to be with this person. However, this person is someone that was supposed to come into your life to definitely teach you. And so we look, because the universe says, I really don't care whether or not this person comes back after they do all the work and you dump them. You know, that's their karma. Because guess what? The universe says, all I wanted them to do was the work. They wouldn't do the work. So I had to, I conspired a way where, again, there was no way for this person to do the work, where they wouldn't have done it. So again, the universe doesn't really care one way or the other whether this person is going to do the work, doesn't do the work, comes back, cares. It's same thing for you. The universe doesn't care. So what we see here is we see abandonment, we see rage, inner authority, protection, shame, belittled, and nurturing. So obviously the ancestral karma was oppression. Oppression through belittlement, again, and shaming, where you didn't feel safe with your parent. You didn't feel safe because on a psychological level, they were like a bully, and they were the way that they talked to you, and that's ancestral karma, by the way. It's how your grandparents talk to your parents. We're taught how we talk to each other, how compassionate we are, and what we see here is like you didn't come from an environment that made you feel safe, that made you feel protected. Like you always had to like tap into your own intelligence. And so you have very strong inner authority. You have very strong intuition because, again, you weren't nurtured. If anything, you didn't feel safe. And again, abandonment. Abandonment is not just not being around, but it's psychologically and emotionally. There was nothing, and where you didn't feel safe because that parent might have been really rageful, really angry all the time, just not happy with their life. And they took that anger and that resentment and everything else onto you. They put it onto you. So you were forced to, like, again, almost have to raise yourself. And it's not a blame game, but we have to understand, where did the wound come from? Like, why would I attract a person that that gave me nothing emotionally? And Spirit says, well, because of this energy, because of this energy. Those are mean energies. This person kind of acted mean. They acted like they didn't have any feeling towards you, where again, didn't feel safe with them. They didn't, right? They acted almost like as if you were an inconvenience, or if they were too good for you, when really that was the persona, and you were able to tap in using your gift to be like, that's not true. Again, but it brought out those feelings for you, like, well, this person and I have this deep chemistry. Why would they abandon me? Why would they make me feel less than? Well, why didn't they nurture the connection? Well, why didn't they? So obviously that would keep you up ruminating, because you're like, okay, you have a deep connection to me, but you're not going to give me anything. You're going to treat me worse than you treat other people. And Spirit says they don't treat anyone nice. However, what it looks like to you is nice, but it's like they're smooth. They get over. They're charming. And they're charming for that moment, that day, or whatever it is, to get what they want. It's not real. With you, they can't do that. That's the problem. They really have feelings. So they're like, if they were charming, they would really be vulnerable, because they really feel those feelings. And so with someone that they don't have feelings for, they can do that. And it's like, yeah, because guess what? You're getting an attachment to me. I'm not getting an attachment to you, which is a karmic contract, which is what this person grew up in, which is why they're like, I don't really want to grow up in an environment where, I'm going to be with someone that I fight with all the time. So that if we have kids, I'm never going to be there for my kids, that, like, because I'm always fighting, or my kids now I'm not giving time to. They are already like, we're judging this connection, through past experience. So almost like you were paying for what's happened in this person's entire life, because their mother and father couldn't show up because of that first relationship, that second relationship. And so this person was just going about it that way, where you were like disconnected was the best thing, because you were like, listen, I don't need to stay with you, because I feel like you've done a healing on yourself, like you have. And what you say is, I actually have other opportunities, and I want to release fear. It's like fear of being connected to someone that abandons me, doesn't know how to show up, belittles me. Though all those are passive aggressive ways to manipulate me and wear away a person's self-esteem. That's how this person navigates their relationships, because they don't get close. So understand, the moment that a person gets too close, what they do is they give the backhanded compliments. They do things to, again, create that space, that divide, where you're looking at the person like, why would you do that? And you're like, I'm going to fulfill the promise to myself, which is, by the way, you're breaking ancestral karma, which is what is so attractive to you, that this person is seeing, because understand, they need to do that too. They could have done it with you. They chose not to. So now, again, Spirit's like making them do it because they want to do it now, but they're further behind in the fact that you're moving into infinite possibilities. Well, with limited potential. Well, don't you think that this person is facing their fear because of it? Of course they are, because listen, they see, like, once you clear that ancestral karma, where you're like, I am enough, I am good enough, and having it really, you confronting your challenges is what actually clears the blockage from the root chakra, and that part of the blockage was this person, and that's what this person is kind of realizing. And that's why you're able to have infinite possibilities. you know? So, and that you're protected. This person can't stop you as long as, or no one can stop you. As long as you're in the energy of love, doing what you love, you're going to be divinely protected because spirit will work through the universe to bring you people, situations, and experiences that protect you, from this person. Again, no one can take what's yours. You can only forfeit what's yours by letting someone emotionally manipulate you, which, by the way, that can't happen now because this person, they're going to have to be vulnerable. They're going to have to be real to come back because you have strong intuition, inner authority. You had that from growing up is what spirit says. Now, this is about you being unapologetically yourself. Live authentically, live out loud, and understand you're a magnet of whom what comes into your life. I understand that you are someone that normally does that. This is what that person admires about you, but also is fearful because listen, they're not strong within themselves. They don't have good connections. This connection is difficult. Any person that's afraid to tap into their emotions doesn't have good connections because people can feel when someone's a phony baloney and when they're not really that deep, you know. And if they don't, they soon find out that they're not deep. They might get tricked for a little while, but you can only be tricked for so long before you're like, there's nothing underneath there. It's just surface, right? So this person is being forced to change, but you're in your energy, which obviously is going to make this person move faster because no, you're going to leave them behind, and you needed to do that. You needed to go through this experience also to fully transmute that negative energy because you grew up in an environment where you were made to feel again like not worthy, but everything that this person did, abandonment, not worthy, disposable of, and really spirit says that all that is an illusion. It's like that angry parent made you feel that way, and then you attracted people into your life that way. And the reason why is because empty, angry. This person is empty and angry, but we become empty and angry when we don't put energy towards becoming ourselves, right? The whole point of why we're here are to fulfill our purpose, which is what it says here, is to become the energy of love by doing what we love, by giving and receiving of love. So that is how we co-create with God. That's how we stay connected to the people on the planet, right? Otherwise, a lot of times we wouldn't, right? Why are we going to talk to people that don't really have similar energy to us, right? What does it is through our passion, through our, that's really our passion represents who we are and becoming who we are, where you weren't able to do that because you grew up in an environment where there wasn't the support. And when the only support that there was an angry parent that made you feel bad. So again, there was detachment and disassociation from that. So again, if you're not creating yourself, then there's nothing there, but the mind will not say that there's nothing there. It'll just say inadequate. And you'll be placed in the fear pile opposed to the unconscious, unconditional rather love, right? That's pretty much what will happen. And so what happened here is you needed to go through this. This person's still gonna come back, but it's like what we see is you're moving on to brighter horizons. Whether this person comes back in the right time, who knows? Spirit's saying that's irrelevant. Their plan is to do that, but they need to heal. And this was to help you actually flow with grace. Understand you can't control your environment. You can only control you. And so you can go with the flow of life. When you're in the passion for life, you can set appropriate boundaries. You can actually see out of your third eye, oh my God, I could see how that would happen for me because you're doing what you love. You're connected to different people. And really, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. How do you think you can imagine it? You can imagine it because you're actually walking the walk. And you can say, oh, I can see how that person would buy that product from me or hire me for that job. I can see out of my third eye because I'm grounded and I'm being led by spirit through gut, intuition, inner knowing. As one door closes, another door opens. You're not in charge of how you are able to succeed and create. You're only allowed to say what you want to create. You're utilizing what's in the environment to create it. However, it's really a co-creation with, God, with it's a spiritual walk. It's a faith walk. No one knows what they're doing and no one really knows how it's going to come out. We're just all doing the best that we can do with what we have. So, Spirit's saying, when you're living in alignment with the laws of God, you're going to be successful. This person was on a low vibration, they were in an energy of fear. Is again where you held onto the energy of fear because you didn't fully transmute that negative energy. Just because you might have done the healing work and changed your mind, your body is your mind's faithful servant. It already has held on to those energies. So you really haven't fully healed until you actually embody the new consciousness. So you can see yourself differently. So you can see a different outcome of the situation. So, and that's what gives you confidence. And understand a lot of times you'll continue to get that spiritual test. We continue to get the spiritual test until we learn it. That's why it says what you resist persists. You just get it in a different, like with different people, different scenarios. And again, opportunity to do things differently, to clear the ancestral karma, or just the family karma, or your individual karma. All karmas need to be healed the same way. Integrating the spiritual block and then embodying the new consciousness, doing something with that energy. Know that you're the alchemist of your life. How are you going to transmute that energy? And we leave off with one more to see again, and that is one step at a time. See, Spirit always says that. You know why? Because only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. So Spirit says, see the mountains ahead and dedicate yourself to taking one small step at a time. Make progress by staying focused on the present moment, the current task, and you will regain your ease of living. And that means that you don't have anything to worry about. What happens is that when we focus too much, what's going to happen? What did happen? We get nervous. Don't look for problems, Spirit's saying. Just take it one day at a time. Live in the moment. The past is gone and the future isn't here yet. So all we really have when we're looking at things time through a spiritual perception, we only have now. There is no such thing as time in the spiritual realm. There is no past, there is no future. There just is. And Spirit says, and one last thing, believe in yourself and the beauty in life and the goodness of God, and love the power, know rather that you have the power to fulfill your dreams. And the reason why is because you got God inside of you, and the will of the Almighty supports you. And that's the thing, you didn't have support, and you grew up in an environment where you weren't supported. So that's the block where you might be like, there's still no one around me that supports me. And God says, I support you. You don't need anybody to support you. And understand, if you put the energy out there the best way you know how, and those people won't support you, well, then God will make a way where there is no way just for you, because nothing can stop you from succeeding. Only you can stop you from succeeding. And sometimes that might mean that God takes you out of a certain environment to put you in an environment where you can succeed. You just have to have faith. That's how you know that the Almighty supports you, because you actually are seeing it happen for yourself, and that your life is showered in divine light and your heart opens to the power of the universe, because God made the universe with its voice, so it's an extension of God's energy. And so understand, it works in correlation and it brings you everything that you need to heal. Again, the path unfolds while you're on it. And Spirit's saying, You just need to be on the path to your own healing. Fulfill the whole big reason of why you're here. And that's before anything, your relationship with God. And your relationship with God is really through your path, through, again, how are you giving and receiving of love? How are you becoming the expression of love that you can see in such a high vibration? Is really what Spirit's saying. That's the most important thing, because then you don't get into toxic relationships, because hey, you have boundaries already set there, and not because you're rigid, but because hey, trying to create yourself and become yourself takes a lot of time. And so instead of giving that person a half of your pizza pie, right? There's 8 slices in a pizza pie. You're only giving that person like a slice at most. Sometimes a half a slice, depending on how hungry you are. You're only getting a half a slice. It's like, because that's how much time I can give to you, because I'm very invested in my life. And you can go with the flow of life when you're in the passion for life, and you have the support from the people that are connected to your passion, or that you know through your passion. So you never have to worry. It's again that you're not supported. You are supported. But if our mindset is that we're not, and we, you know, have lived those experiences, we're going to be prone to see what we look for. And so Spirit's saying you had to go through this experience to clear that. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Know that coaching is today. Shadow healing coaching is today. I believe it's at 7 o'clock or 7:30. I think 7 o'clock. And then this evening, I will be doing a live stream for you guys. And I think that's at around 11 o'clock or 11:30 p.m. All right. I'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye.